Hello, students at Buren Elementary School. This is Governor Eric Holcomb joining you today. What a great day to be a Wildcat. You may recall that Indiana was the birthplace of the first person to set foot on the moon, Neil Armstrong, of course. He was a graduate of Indiana's Purdue University up in West Lafayette, Indiana, also known as the cradle of astronauts. Boiler up, hammer down. But now you are part of another history that's being made. And I know you'll never forget today. I'd also like to extend a warm Hoosier welcome to the crew of Expedition 67 as you enter Indiana web space from space. So on behalf of our state, thank you for serving all of humanity, and indeed our world, as astronauts at the International Space Station do your most important job. And thank you for taking the time to downlink with students here in Indiana, in Brown County. We all couldn't be more grateful for the way you continue to pioneer advancements and conduct research that could lead to improved technology and health for years to come here on the planet we all call home. Couldn't be more proud. Finally, students and school staff, faculty, teachers, everyone that had a hand in this, congratulations on this opportunity that is truly out of this world. Your nationally recognized dedication to teaching and learning makes us proud and will continue to take you as far as you want to go. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that today proves that not even the sky is the limit for you all. So learn all you can and reach for the stars. You're going to catch them.
All of us on 3.
Copy, 1 minute out.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. I am ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Mission Control Houston, please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
How do you hear me?
Houston ACR, I have you loud and clear. How me?
I have you loud and clear. Please stand by for the first question.
Hi, my name is Sawyer Reynolds. I'm in first grade, and why do you want to be in space?
Hi, Sawyer. Thank you for the question. I have dreamed of being an astronaut and wanting to fly in space for as long as I can remember. I was inspired by books and movies. And then when I was in second grade, so in the grade that many of you are in right now, I remember my teacher wheeling a television into our classroom and seeing the very first space shuttle launch. And that's when I knew that there was a path, a possibility of finding a job, of living and working in space. And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity.
Hi, Hi, my name is Reese Meitzman. I'm going into the 4th grade, and my question for you is, what are your spacesuits made of?
Thank you for that great question. Our spacesuits are absolutely amazing pieces of technology. They have 16 layers. There's a hard layer that covers the torso, and then soft layers that cover the arms and legs. Those first 3 layers provide ventilation and cooling to our bodies. And then we have several layers, a bladder layer that keeps the oxygen and atmosphere in there, and then a restraint layer on top of that, so that the bladder doesn't blow up like a balloon. And there are several more layers there to provide water resistance and tear resistance that protect us, to help with insulation, to keep us warm, and then also layers to reflect light and heat, and also to protect us in the event that we get hit by micrometeorites, essentially some of the same materials that bulletproof vests are made of. So it's an amazing piece of technology, and it keeps us safe when we go outside the space station.
Hi, my name is Colin Peck, and I'm in the 3rd grade. My question is, how does a spaceship launch?
Well, that's a great question. We had the opportunity to launch on in a SpaceX Crew Dragon on top of a Falcon 9 booster. And so anytime we're launching something to space, we'll put the cargo, in the case of our spacecraft, our Dragon capsule, on top of a big rocket full of propellant. And it burns that propellant, that gas, and an oxidizer like oxygen, using something like oxygen to create basically combustion. And the results of that combustion get accelerated through the nozzle, and that's what pushes up into space. And the bigger the payload, or the further it's going, the more fuel and the bigger rocket you need. And so I'm super excited about the Artemis rocket that we're going to launch here in a few months, that is establishing our return path to the moon.
My name is Hudson Bernard, and I am in 3rd grade. What does launch feel like?
Launches are absolutely amazing. So you hear the countdown, and we all are very familiar with that countdown: 3, 2, 1, and then we feel the vibration of the spacecraft as the motors start to spin up, and then you start to feel when we're launching, we feel a pressure, like we're getting pushed back into our seats. And it's kind of like if you're on a roller coaster or in a car that starts to accelerate really fast, you get pushed back into your seat. Well, that's what we feel like, and that goes on for about 8.5 minutes until we get into low Earth orbit, and then that acceleration goes away, and then all of a sudden you're free floating and you're in space. It is absolutely amazing.
Hello, my name is Eli Summers. I'm in the 4th grade. How does the space station get its power?
Yeah, it's really amazing that we don't have to get power from the ground. We generate all of our own power with the amazing solar arrays that we have on the outside of the space station. And in fact, we're in the process of upgrading our solar arrays so that we're going to have 6 brand new solar arrays that are kind of layered over top of our existing solar arrays. Each one of those new solar arrays generates about 20 kilowatts of power. So altogether, 120 kilowatts. In addition to the solar arrays, the existing solar arrays, which produce about 95 kilowatts, it's going to be a total power generation of about 215 kilowatts, which provides power for all of the equipment inside, for our environmental control system, and our ability to control the spacecraft in space, and to have communications like this, so that we are able to share our experiences with the ground.
Hello, my name is Mackenzie Sattler, and I'm in the 1st grade. How do you get oxygen in space? Thank you.
That's a great question. We need oxygen to breathe. We need it on the ground in order to survive in space. There's no oxygen, no atmosphere up here, so we have to create our own atmosphere here in the space station. That means a lot of nitrogen, but we humans and most living organisms need oxygen in order to live. And so Initially, we would bring oxygen, have oxygen delivered in cargo vessels in big tanks, and that's released into the atmosphere. But we are also able to generate our own oxygen. We have a system called the oxygen generation system, which is very original. But this takes water, it uses electricity to split water into hydrogen and oxygen. And we can use that oxygen then as a part of our atmosphere so that we can breathe. And this is really important for future exploration. When we go to the moon and to Mars, we can't have cargo vehicles constantly bringing us supplies. It just doesn't work. So we have to be able to recycle our atmosphere, recycle our water, and so that oxygen generation system is an important part of that environmental control system.
Hello, my name is Laura Kennard. I am in 4th grade. How do you eat in space?
Well, this is one of my favorite things. I think our whole crew really likes to enjoy meals up here, and so I'm just going to show you quickly kind of what we have available to us. Half of our food comes pre-cooked and then in these kind of metallic envelopes. And so all we need to do is warm this up. We put it in, we have a food warmer. We slide this in there, has these hot plates in there. This sits against that, and this gets warmed up, and we open it up, and this is chicken fajitas. So that's pretty yummy. We put that on a tortilla. We have tortillas up here to eat with our food. But what to drink? So we have these little aluminum looking packets, kind of like a Capri Sun, if any of you've had those. But what we have inside is a powder. And so if it's coffee, it's powdered coffee. If it's juice, powdered juice. This happens to be milk. And then some of our food is dehydrated. So here's an example of a dehydrated food that we would add water to. And then some of my favorite things. This may be familiar to you. Uh-oh. So as astronauts, we get to play with our food, and there's nobody here to tell us not to. Thank you for the question.
Hi, my name is Logan Hathaway, and I'm in 2nd grade. How do you guys prepare your food?
Kjell, your mic is off.
Mainly for food that's already been pre-cooked. We will put it in a food warmer, and that's how we'll warm the food up. And it gets really warm, so it gets pretty tasty. And we have a refrigerator too, so if the food is supposed to be cold, we can put water into it and then put it in the refrigerator to cool off. And then some of our food, we'll add water to it and then cut it open, and we'll use a spoon. So it turns out the two most important utensils here in space to eat are scissors to cut open your food packets and a spoon to dig it out.
Hi, my name is Bob Kelchick. I am in this preschool. Do you drink milk on the space station?
We can drink milk. Milk is an important part. It keeps our bones healthy, and we certainly, here in space, we're concerned about our bones, our skeleton, and so milk is an important part of keeping us healthy, just like it is keeping you healthy on the Earth. So this drink packet actually has milk in it. I don't know if you can read that label. So this has milk, so it's powdered milk. We put water into that, and that reconstitutes into milk. And here you can see this is oat cereal. And so there's actually powdered milk down at the bottom of this in addition to the cereal. And so when we add water to this, it makes milk in there for us to eat with our cereal. Pretty cool.
Hello, my name is Ava Katrick. I am in the 1st grade. Can you listen to music on the space station?
we can listen to music on the space station. In fact, I think most of us really enjoy listening to music. I like listening to music when I work out, and then also while I'm working, I'll have some music playing in the background. So we have a support team on the ground that sends up lists. We'll send down a list of the music we'd like to listen to, and they send it up, and it's available. We can access it through a web page, and it works really great. And it reminds us of home.
Hi, my name is Phoenix Dunn, and I'm in kindergarten. Do you play games in space?
Well, we absolutely can play games in space. We don't have a lot. We don't have like a lot of board games up here because all the pieces would just float away. We've got a few soft, kind of spongy balls that we can throw around, but we try to be really careful because the space station, you know, if you can kind of look around me, it is just, there are computers and equipment and people's science all around. And so we want to be very careful and take great care of the space station. But you can see, for example, we've got a couple inflatable balls here. This is, I think, maybe Mercury. And you can see we've got a sun and a moon behind. And we'll kind of figure out fun things to do to have fun up here.
Hello, my name is Ronald Lucas, and I'm in 3rd grade. How do you keep your muscles strong in space?
Well, that's a really great question. We talked a little bit about the bones, and we work really hard to keep our muscles strong. So if we don't do any sort of exercise up here, it's kind of like, you know, we're up here for 6 months. It would be kind of like just laying in bed for 6 months. Your muscles become weak, your bones become brittle and weak, your heart, your cardiovascular system doesn't work as well. And so we have to work out every day. In fact, just before this, I was on our treadmill. We work out every day to keep our hearts strong, our muscles strong, and our bones strong. And so we have an exercise machine. Because there's no gravity here to provide weight, we use evacuated cylinders to provide resistance. And this machine is kind of like a universal gym. And we can do all sorts of exercise on it. But we exercise every day for an hour on that machine. And then we'll get onto either a treadmill or an exercise bike to get a good workout and keep our hearts healthy. Great question.
Hello, my name is Avalon Julia, and I am in the 3rd grade. Are there any animals on the space station?
Avalon, great question. We have had and do have animals on the space station. They're an important part of our research program. They help us to understand how we and how animals, how living beings adjust to weightlessness and the kind of changes that we can see. One animal in particular is the fruit fly. And this is an animal that I studied when I was in college in a genetics class, because you can have many generations of flies in a given amount of time. And you can see the genetic changes. You can actually see those changes expressed in different colored eyes, different types of wings. You can see that expressed over different generations. And so, as an example, the fruit fly is one type of animal that we've studied up here. We've had spiders up here in the past to see what would happen, how they spin different types of webs. And I'd encourage you to look, ask your parents to help you look online, because it's very interesting. Some of the spiders spun very wacky webs, but then over time they started to look more normal. And so it helps us to understand how animals adjust to being in this environment, much like we adjust to being in this very different environment.
My name is Lachlan Steele. I'm in kindergarten. If you had a snake in outer space, how will it sliver?
Boy, that's a really good question, and I wish I knew the answer. I'm glad that there are no snakes up here. That would be interesting. You know, I think that they would try and slither like they do on the ground. I think like when we get up here, our first reaction to floating is to kind of like you feel like you're falling a little bit, and I think snakes would try and slither. I think when you look at snakes that swim in water, that they might try and slither like they swim in water. But I think over time, they would adjust. And as they touch something, maybe they would coil around it to get some purchase on something. And over time, they would learn how to, maybe they would find a handrail and stick, and then they would be able to slither along the wall. It's a very interesting question, and I'm excited that somebody's going to study that someday.
Hello, my name is Bradley Sar, and I'm in 4th grade. How long does it take to send or receive messages from your family?
Thanks for that question. That's a really important part of a long-duration mission, is the ability to communicate with our family and friends back home. We're very fortunate that we're in low Earth orbit, and so it is almost instantaneous. The ability to, like we're doing right now, to talk with the ground. You can detect just a very small delay, but in terms of the vastness of space, we are very, very close to the Earth, and so our messages, either using a internet phone, talking to our family and friends by phone, or talking over the radio to mission control, or sending video signals along that same radio. It happens very quickly. And that's going to be a challenge when we start to venture further and further away from the Earth. Our message will, for example, as we go to Mars, some of our messages may take up to 20 minutes to get to Mars, and then another 20 minutes to get back. And so it may take 40 minutes to an hour for a round trip kind of conversation. And it's something that we're going to have to adjust to as we begin to explore deeper and deeper into our solar system.
Hello, my name is Annelle McQueen, and I'm in 4th grade. How do toilets work in space?
Well, they work very well, and we are all very, very grateful for that. When we get up to the space station, it's one of the first things that we are oriented to. The crew that's here, they took us around. They showed us, this is where you get water and food. This is where you will sleep, and this is where you go to the bathroom. And then here's all the emergency equipment. Those are the most important things to know when you first get to the space station. The toilet has 2 parts to it, and so, hello. Number one, there's a hose, much like the hose that's on your vacuum cleaner, the extension hose, and that is where the liquid waste goes. It uses a vacuum. There's a fan that pulls the liquid waste into that hose. That liquid, that urine, goes to the urine processing assembly, which then goes to the water processing assembly, which then goes to the potable water dispenser, basically our water fountain. So we recycle our water, and we're able to recycle up to about 96% of our water now, which again is super important for these missions going to the moon and to Mars, because we can't carry all that fresh water with us. And that water actually the system works really, really well. The solid waste goes into something that looks very much like a toilet back home. There's a seat with a hole in it. There's a perforated little baggie at the bottom of that hole, and vacuum suction pulls the solid waste into that baggie. And when you're done, you unravel the baggie, drop it into the bin below. The suction pulls it down there, and you put a new baggie in, and you close up the seat. So the system works great.
Hello, my name is Emily Tracy, and I'm the superintendent of Brown County Schools in Nashville, Indiana. I want to extend our warmest thanks to the astronauts on board the International Space Station for taking this time today to educate our students in Brown County Schools. Your leadership and your experience are invaluable, and we could not be more grateful. Thank you for all you do to advance STEM education and the opportunities here on Earth, and for being an example of what hard work and dedication can look like. Today is certainly a great day to be a Wildcat.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to chat with you all. You had great questions, and I wish you all the best. Keep working hard and reach for the stars.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications. And Kjell, Houston on 2.